All right. So yeah, the big draft is tomorrow. There's been a lot of shufflings back and forth with the captains.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
I think we
we
got it
lost David
settled though,
Seaman.
finally. A little bit of drama there, but I think we're good to go. We got 8 caps. They're ready to go for the draft night tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I'm glad that we got to 8 because it was a bit shaky for a bit. Then,
Yeah, it was dicey. Last season I called in a few favors for the captains. Gold being one of them, and Raka being another one. Creature kind of too. And Raka was generous enough to do it one more season, but I wasn't gonna beg, Jack and Gold to do it again as well.
yeah, so it's good that it worked out as it did. I mean, I thought Nameless King was gone as well. I kind of wasn't keeping track of things for a few days and didn't really know what's going on. And then when you just told me a moment ago, you're like, "Oh no, there's 8 captains." I'm like, "That's really good, really good news."
Yeah, NK decided to. That was a slight beg on my part, I guess. I did ask him if he would, take up the mantle. Part of that has to do with who was left on the board for his round zero pick. Once I provided him that information, I think he was on board.
Okay, so with the round zeros, it's NK and Zapata. Are they the only two with a round zero, or is
Yeah, that's right. So this is now on the screen is the sheet that's not fully prepared for tomorrow, but mostly prepared. I got to just enter this season's salaries and availabilities in the left-hand column here. But
yeah?
yeah, this is the way it's shaken out, and Zapata will have, I assume, the lower salary value than Nameless King, so he will get the first round zero pick, followed by Nameless King.
Okay. So Nameless King doesn't want to lock in a co-cap, or what was the deal there?
He didn't for season one either. He was one of the people that chose a round zero pick, and his round zero pick was Linux, who is off the board this season with Lemonaire claiming him as his co-captain.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, in the end, does it really matter? You know, the only thing is just is Zapata gonna pick who Nameless King wants to pick before him?
Uh, who knows? I do, but I'm not going to share that. But yeah, you can look at the list here, and you got Londorf out there still, UKM, Dross, Core, Jalrix, Violence, Jack are all top players that are still available for that round zero pick.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, and still
I was
some
more
good.
curious to see as well with the last season because this was obviously the first introductory season of the draft beer league. So it was more, let's, how did this pan out? Did it work out quite well? I mean, I was from a perspective that I watched it, I was more like, yeah, that we got all of our teams, we got all of our players, everybody showed up, everybody played, but some people kind of are not sure where the league sits in between RSHL and MSHL. Like, are they supposed to be playing new players? Are they not supposed to be playing new players?
So I mean,
So
there.
it's a bit weird. It was a bit chaotic, I guess, in what the expectation was of the league. But I guess from your perspective, you probably kind of dove down into the statistics a bit more, like running it, being the league coordinator. So
Yeah, I feel
curious on your
like
thoughts on how the league panned out as per expectations.
I think it went extremely well. The spirit rule, which is in place, was followed by some, not all. Even the some that followed it did better than others, and I can't force people to do it. The whole point of this was to create rosters that were balanced and have no on ice restrictions, which was the major complaint from the higher tier players in years past for beer league. So this provided an opportunity where you can get the new players some ice time, at least a period per game during the regular season, and mix it in with your seasoned veterans like myself and Gold and Creature, to just name a few, And by the time you got to the playoffs, play as sweaty of a line as you wanted to. Usually teammates are behind that. I know that some of the newer players didn't have as good of an experience as some of the others. Um, and that's just, I guess, the kind of the nature of the game, unfortunately. Some people are a little more competitive than others.
Yeah, and it just all comes down to the captains, really. Like, how do the captains want to distribute the ice time? There are obviously some captains there that are happy to sit out most of each game to let the newer players in there, even if their team is not doing so well in the game, because the whole point of the B League is that every team makes it to the playoffs regardless of where they end up. So some of the captains, understood that and embraced that and said, that's fine. We'll let the newer players get more ice time during the season because in the end, we're still going to get to a playoff match and still have the chance to make something of it.
Yeah, I
Much
think
like
a perfect
Millhouse is.
yeah, perfect example of that is Millhouse Boogie's team for sure, where they came out with an 0-14 record for the regular season and knocked out my first place Big Deek Energy team in round one. Not without controversy, but they played well and they made it to the next round.
Yeah, and like Millhouse during the regular season, even though they didn't do well and they lost all of their games, they still gave a lot of ice time to people that don't get ice time in the other leagues, especially in RSHL. Like Stephanie got a lot of time. She was their highest goal scorer by 200% of the next person, which she was really happy about. And it's like, okay, that's really embracing the point of the league, let somebody have a bit more of the spotlight on them that they might not get or even allow to get in RSHL because they're just going to be on the bench all the time. So,
Yeah,
Clefairy had a lot of ice time as well. Yost was there, much to David's dismay.
yeah. If you
And
look at their ice time, and some of this is people, you know, not showing, or Mudvayne was a more of a Euro time slot guy, so half the games were played on Euro, not half, but 40%. But yeah, I think Boogie did an excellent job with distributing the ice time. And really, I haven't gone through them all, but let's go to Big Deke Energy. Even look at this: Tigo on our team and Infamous logged 136 minutes and 145 minutes.
yeah,
Download being the one with the least amount of minutes, which was a little bit sad, with 55, and then Commodore is a late season waiver addition. So if you look at the time there, I played a lot, which is kind of unusual. In years past, like you mentioned earlier, for Beer League, I was happy to sit and let the new players play. So I kind of enjoyed that.
well, you did also sit out quite a bit in the RSHL as well. So, like, there were situations where I was like, you should probably be on the ice right now, and you were not on the ice in the last RSHL season
Yeah,
for
this
breakaway. I believe you were on.
yeah, that's correct. And this season, I'm not gonna have that
Was that
luxury. I guess
the most recent?
I'm gonna kind of put my money where my mouth is, so to speak, and play a good bit this RSHL season. But now we're moving on to RNG gods, and you can see even their play time was very well distributed as well. Old Botman with the most ice time, and Crazy Penguin their goalie. Creatures up there too, but then you got Abo and Riverside,
Um,
and Easton
yeah,
all got some
mid
quality
played a
minutes.
lot. Euripides played a lot.
Yep.
They're obviously people that are not going to get RSHL time or much RSHL time, so it kind of worked out a lot. Like he got Omega Red, got quite a few games of ice time there.
Yep.
He's one of the new imports from Trench Wars and EG,
Yep.
and from speaking to him outside of the game, like he's really anticipating the new league to improve upon what he started and get more of an opportunity there. So it worked out well to get a lot of the new Trench Wars players and the EG players that were coming in to give them more ice time. Like you're pointing at Flying Bass there, Remark.
Yep.
It's good to see that Honcho's, given ice time as well because he's basically just a mascot in the stands for RSHL.
Yeah, I think he's
And
poised to get some minutes this season, though. We'll see. But yeah, if you go across all the teams, it's better than I thought, to be honest. Most people did kind of follow that spirit rule, um, and that's kind of what we're looking at for this coming season as well.
And it's also a lot of the newer players, they are not familiar with the schedule and the time frames of things. So a lot of them weren't there to most of the games. Some of them had other commitments in other zones at the same time as well. So hopefully now that a few of the people that were first time players in Hockey Zone will kind of get that experience under their belt to be like, okay, this is how Hockey Zone schedules their stuff. This is how their games work. So they can kind of maybe set aside more time to show up to games. Like the Mudveins and Minister as well. Like Minister barely had any ice time clocked, where the MSHL season prior to that, he had, 200 plus minutes.
Yeah, I think he's kind of
So,
just disappeared though. I haven't seen him in zone in a while.
yeah.
And that happens. But overall, I think if you look at the rosters at a high level from last season, they were pretty balanced. And that was kind of the part of the issue halfway through was the people leaving the roster or the Easton mess or for whatever reason, and then the waiver ads were kind of more the back end admin stuff that had to be dealt with during the course of the season. But throughout that whole process, my goal was always to maintain balance between the rosters, and I think we did a pretty good job of that. If you look at them here, like I said, from a bird's eye view, and compare them, any one of these teams should be able to beat any of the other teams on any given night, depending on how the game goes.
Yep.
And that's what I'm hoping for in this next season as well.
One thing that I just wanted to ask on the side, like you mentioned before, that the higher level players were happy that there were no restrictions on the B League. But, obviously those restrictions were implemented to try to enforce more ice time to the newer players. Is that something that you'd want to keep as is? Or are you happy if, Kara or Raka or Artos shows up and plays 3 periods every game? You're like, if that's what they want to do it.
That's totally
or do
fine
you
in
want
my
to try
opinion.
to help motivate that?
Back in the original iteration of Beer League, there was no MSHL, so that's where the restrictions came from. What we saw in between the last season of MSHL that I played on Zombies and the first iteration of Hockey Zone Beer League, or Draft Beer League, sorry, was that there was no middle ground for a player like me who can play RSHL minutes, but kind of really enjoy the more casual game where I'm not too stressed out. That's not that I get stressed out to begin with, but meaning a lower stakes kind of environment where I can just have fun playing my two-dimensional spaceship game that I've been playing since 1996.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, if I want to play RSHL, I probably still won't be able to play RSHL because, I lag or, teammates don't want me to be there because it's harder to pass to me or whatever, or my goals are going to get called lag or all that stuff. So it doesn't matter how much I want to be a full-time RSHL player, I just don't bother to try because there's too many obstacles in my way to climb that other people don't have to climb, and I'm like, I don't have the energy to have to do that in a 50-year-old video game that I've played half my life. I just want to kind of show up and enjoy the time that I spend in the game. So that's why this kind of beer league scenario was good for me, because I also can't play MSHL. I can't even goalie for MSHL, which I think is fucking ridiculous. Like, why am I banned from goalieing MSHL? There's people that can do it now that are 10 times better than me already, like Sig Smoke and all that. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, so the beer league's the good middle ground. So, there's a lot of people that are in the bracket of they're an experienced player that might have played the game for a long term, but they're still not really going to be a starting RSHL player.
Yeah, and
but also can't play MSHL. So it's like that's That's the middle ground that we have here. But in the end, like, it's up to the team's captain to play people. And I've probably seen one period of ice time in the last 5 games or something like that in beer league. So it's just like, well, it doesn't work for everybody, but it's really up to the captain to distribute the time or to make the calls. So, but you can't. It's never going to be 100%. You know, if it's working 80%, then that's still better than what we hoped for, I guess.
Yeah. You know, I don't think there's any kind of secret sauce or special recipe that'll make it perfect for everyone. I think it does offer an opportunity for people to skate during the regular season, and I kind of made it clear to all the captains, like, when it comes playoff time, you do what you want to do. You know, if you don't want to play your rookies at all, but, certain teams, like Gold's team, for example, he didn't give a shit. He played his players that showed up. And that's kind of why I guess he got voted for best captain this past season. So, I guess it depends on the captain, just like you said.
Yeah, exactly. Like, some people just want to give themselves 100% ice time, regardless of if it's good or bad for the team. Some people want to put the new players so that they can get their playoff experience, regardless if it's good for the team. Everybody just has their own way to do it, and I guess this platform allows that diversity to happen. It's like, do what you want to do. It's not super high stakes. Obviously, everybody's trying to win, and everybody's trying to do their best and get to the end of the season. But there's many different avenues that people can take to get there. Whether it's right or wrong, who knows? Somebody's going to win in the end, and that in the end is the game 5 of the finals, which is not too far away.
Yeah, for sure. And also at a high level, I mean, there's a few blowouts here and there in terms of some of the games, but a lot of them were kind of pretty close for the most part. Like, us against Glue Stiffners, 2 goals there. That one was a little more of a blowout. 1-goal game, 2-goal game, another blowout. 1-goal game, blowout. 1-goal game. So a lot of the games were pretty close if you look at it. And, that goes back to what I was saying in terms of, the rosters were fairly balanced, and like I said a minute ago, any given game, depending on who showed and how the game was played, either team could win.
And it did, like, some of the blowout games. You have, like, the Millhouse team, for example. You have David Seaman flying around in a Warbird. I mean, of course your team's going to get blown out if that's happening. So that's just the opportunity to get that done. Do it in beer league and not in RSHL.
Yeah. And then in the playoffs, if you look at all the playoff games, they're all pretty well contested. So I thought it went pretty well.
Most of the games were within like 1 or 2 goals. A few of them went into overtime, which is always good to see.
Yeah, and we still have the the finals for HDBL1 to happen, which is scheduled for Monday. We'll see what happens, but we were trying to get it wrapped up before the Thanksgiving holiday here in the States. It just didn't happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've seen from many seasons in RSHL and in the past, it's whatever expectation of a final series to be finished is usually never going to happen.
Yep.
There's always going to be something that goes on, or one team can't show one of their best players, and that's it. It's going to postpone everything for 2 weeks. Ideally, this shouldn't be happening in beer league because it's kind of the whole point of the league. It's like, you have a roster of more than 6 people that you can play. I get it for RSHL. It makes sense. It's like the top of the top. You want your best 6 players to be there. But really, like in the B League scenario, that really shouldn't be the case. But
yeah, I mean,
it's still going to happen. It doesn't matter like what happens. It's still going to happen. I'm sure when the teams in MSHL, when the Trench Wars guys and all that get more accustomed to how Hockey Zone operates, they're going to start schedule fucking and stuff as well. So it's just one of those inherent things to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, it's a casual but competitive league, and that's kind of how I envisioned it to begin with, and that's kind of what it turned into. So hopefully it continues for this next coming season.
Yeah, it's good to see also people that were on the bottom of the pick list last season, that did get quite a bit of ice time, even if they were like 10th, 11th pick. You had Mr. Grinch there, Flying Bass got quite a bit, Stephanie got a lot of ice time.
Scratcher did.
So that's good to see as well. People that were A Mirror on Gold's team, he got quite a bit of time as well. Scratcher, 10th pick was for me like one of the rookies of the season. Like
I
he was
couldn't agree
doing an
more.
excellent job.
I put his nomination up for most improved. I don't know if he won or not. I don't think he did. I think Tico did, but from the few games I refed and played against him, I thought he was vastly improved since my days on South Park Cows with him.
Yeah, he played great, and he's also playing full time in MSHL as well. So he's just getting a lot more scheduled match exposure and experience, and that's probably just what he needed to get. Because back, 5 years ago, he would be lucky to show up and get some ice time on B League and would never see any RSHL games. And now he's playing kind of in 2 full leagues with 5 to 6 periods between those. And he's just getting a lot of experience and he's just getting a lot better. And it's good to see because, he could be a guy that, give another 1 or 2 seasons, might actually get up to a position in an RSHL team where you can potentially get some ice time in an RSHL team.
Yeah, it's
And that'd
definitely
really be
possible.
like a success story.
Wasn't this game, but I guess it's the game before that they won. I think he got some no, I guess not. Maybe it was the first playoff game. Yeah, there he is. He
Yeah,
played
there he is. Yeah.
full game, and he was outstanding the whole game until Randall broke loose at the end, and he missed the check, and the game was over. But from the start of that game to the basically that overtime goal, he was pretty solid on the defensive end for Raka's records.
Yeah, he's doing well, and he's doing better than other people that are playing Levy defenders that have 10 times more recent ice time than he is. So I think he should really be proud,
Yep,
and it's just like a good success story of the season. You want to see
absolutely.
these players that never had much opportunity to bring a spotlight to themselves to get the spotlight shone and said, well done, you did really well. Good job Scratcher, good job Clefairy, good job Omega Red. Stephanie for once again being the by far highest goal scorer on Millhouse. It's good job. That's what it's there for. That's what the B League's there for. Let's get people flowers that would barely ever get looked upon twice in any other league.
Yes, sir.
So with the draft that's scheduled for tomorrow, that is 10 p.m. Eastern.
9 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah. So what we'll be doing is just getting the broadcast channel set up in Discord for everybody that is available to come in and listen to it. You're also going to be streaming it on Twitch.
Yep, that's right. So it'll be just like this, where I got the OBS on my main desktop, not the Twitch desktop, and just sharing the browser window, and the pics will come in via either Discord message or DM. Blue Goku was asking if you can be on voice, and I don't know if he ever responded to me. I was like, yeah, I think we can, hot your mic for a second if you want to make it via voice. I don't have a problem with that. Might need you to MC that a little bit. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I could just work with shuffling people on and off depending on what's necessary. We'll get in like contact with all the captains and all that, and what people want to do, maybe like 30 minutes before it starts.
Yep.
And